Alright, so we'll do a quick talking interview intro.
Talk, talkity talk.
He asked if we were doing like a Jamcast podcast.
Yeah.
But I was also saying that it can just be a...
Well, that's the thing. We could just do a strings attached podcast, you know?
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because if it ever went on the road...
It could be whatever.
Yeah.
We could do it on the
you
road.
vlog it. You vlog the
yeah.
antics of us fucking with each other and
Sure,
just joking. But yeah, so... Welcome, everyone, to that camera that I'm staring at. So yeah, we all got together, those gentlemen there and camera 2, and Zach and I, we all joined forces to create a new comedy troupe, a possible show to go on the road, and some of you have already seen it. Oh no.
Sad white guys.
Yeah, sad white guys. It's called Strings Attached Comedy. And if you haven't seen one of the shows, you need to check us out. We are on Facebook. We are going to be hitting all of your favorite spots and trying to bring this to your hometown. So leave a like, follow us, pay attention to when we're going to get booked, and come see us. You'll find us all around Florida spread out until we finally get shit going. So thank you for watching this video, and let's have some fun. So kind of like the Jamcast thing, we were talking about music. So we were talking about music, which is going to be difficult. I'm going to have a kink in my neck. So, did you guys? If it's like me, you guys did music first. Kind of figured that I could be funny too, or music didn't go well because of other people quitting, which is a lot of my story. And then you're just kind of like, well, if I can do comedy, why can't I be funny with the guitar or anything else? I'm answering the question for you. So, starting with Senior Hooker.
Sure, man. I mean, this reminds me of back in the day when I was playing in bands from 15 years old to 20 years old. I was in and out of punk rock bands, hardcore bands and shit. This is fucking... I mean, I forget, when I showed up here, I'm like, oh, you're an adult, you have your own place. But I was expecting we'd be in a garage, and someone's mom would be bringing out cookies for us, fucking... We'd have a Kool-Aid break, but... No, man, yeah, it was music first, though.
I actually have a family, and I put them all on the street. I was like, I gotta do a podcast, you kids get the fuck out of here.
My house. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. So a lot of that, music first, and then comedy came later.
Yeah, comedy fan all my life, right? My parents loved stand-up. They got me into stand-up real early. Just took me to stand-up shows. I saw Seinfeld. I saw Kevin James as a kid. Who else? Fucking John Panette, R.I.P. But yeah,
very funny.
And then yes, very good. He was one of the first times I ever watched stand up. I'm like, why is this guy talking for so long? And I was 7 or 8 years old, but then I'm like, oh, he's got jokes about bread. This is great. This is the best thing ever. Little did I know I'd be sitting right here with you, fine gentlemen.
Was there a comedy show that you saw that twixt your creative side to go, I want to try this?
I think it was always I was really into music, and the little switch for me was writing. You remember when Pokemon Go was pretty big in 2015?
Yeah.
I wrote a funny song about that, and I posted it. And I was still in bands at the time, but that did well. That did probably better than any stupid love song I'd ever written.
Yeah.
Then I wrote a song about not voting because the election was coming up. That did better. And I'm like, I think I gotta invest into this little world a little more, It's
very cool, very cool. Miles.
Yeah.
I think I've seen you play before.
Have you?
I believe.
Oh, shit. Do you remember what? Maybe the Brass Mug? That's the...
I've been there too.
The fucking most...
Possibly. Because you're friends with Josh Delgado, right?
Oh, yeah.
Did
Wire
you...
Throne? I filled in the... maybe it was only one show with them.
Okay, so I maybe not have seen you play, but I know that I saw you somewhere before.
Did you ever hang out with Seven Kingdoms? Because that was the band I played in.
That sounds familiar.
You guys played one show. Didn't you play a show with Wire Throne?
Yeah. Probably a couple.
Okay, because I swear, I knew that you played guitar. Because I think because like in that circle of friends, like Claire Havoc, I think is her last name. Little eccentric.
Yeah. She and Kevin from Seven Kingdoms dated for a couple years, so that's how I knew
that's
her.
That's who it is. But same thing. Like I'm assuming music first.
Oh yeah.
And
music first. Metal bands, all metal bands. My mom was holding the camcorder for my first fucking thrash band practices.
Yes, sir. Mine too, man.
You scream so well, dear. That's what I used to get.
Yeah, she never liked the screaming. She's glad I don't do that much anymore.
No moms like the screaming.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a lot of that. A lot of bands, heavy metal bands, power metal bands, thrash bands, death metal bands. And then I had a writing partner. We were working on a bunch of different music together, and he had a couple funny songs. So we started working on those. Like I was mainly doing music and he was doing lyrics. And then we parted ways. Mm-hmm. And that was when I started motivating myself to actually write lyrics. Because I no longer had somebody writing lyrics with me. So
yeah. So that kind of like, that was like your baby steps into the like comedy music aspect.
Yeah. I definitely wanted to take it live and he did not. Mm-hmm. And so we parted ways, and shortly after that, I saw Scott live for the first time, opening for Froggy Fresh, a.k.a. Krispy Kreme, a.k.a. Tyler Cassidy.
Shit, that's right. Yeah, man.
I don't know if you remember. I talked to you. I had a big beard.
Yes.
I didn't know anybody
were you
was...
with the other guys that were like the only like 8 people that were like there?
No, I was there randomly by myself.
Okay.
I just came out.
I probably did talk to you. It just was so long ago.
I was pretty drunk too. I was like 8 vodkas in.
You
and
fucking,
I was like,
that's a bomb to drop. I didn't realize that, man.
Oh yeah. I didn't know if you. I figured you didn't remember that because I was like, I don't know, a little different back then. I was wasted with a big beard.
That was my first. Well, no, it wasn't. But yeah, that was why he was. It was quite the show, if you remember, because like he didn't do any funny songs till the end. The last 2 songs were funny songs.
Yeah. I was prepared for that though. I knew he had switched over to writing the heartfelt shit. Sort of.
Yeah, I don't think the crowd was though, because they were coming up to me like, "Hey man, you were great, but what's going on with his shit right now?" And I'm like,
People expected Froggy Fresh.
Yeah. Hey, I'm the baddest of them all. I don't fuck mess with you.
I would drop a lot of money now to actually see him do that old stuff now. If I had the chance to see him.
I loved it. I used to love it.
Yeah.
I could beat you up.
Shout out to Froggy Fresh. Join our group.
I was really early because like I grew up on Tenacious D, Drew Lynch, like the silliness. I always loved those songs. Stephen Lynch.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Drew Lynch is the stuttering comedian.
Yes.
Right.
Which is also
That's musical in its own way.
Very percussive.
It's staccato. He's got his last special on YouTube is, if you've not seen it, it's really like it's slept on. A lot of people it's got millions of views, but a lot of people I don't hear.
Yeah, check it out. Is that camera still going?
Your camera's rebelling.
We heard a
Pause for
suspicious
technical
chicken.
This podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. One day, not now, but we don't shave our balls. So Manscaped, we're sending this to you, so you could give us some money.
That's weird.
Give us some ball
Manscaped.
trimmers.
Use it on your balls, then have your unknowingly elderly father use it on his face.
All right, here we go. But yeah, like I kind of got into that because of Tenacious D. Stephen Lynch with like Special Ed was my favorite song, and it's like Jack Black was a heavy influence for me to like. I was like, man, he's not like he's a great singer, but he doesn't have the Hollywood looks. He's not like. At a certain point, he was just like, no, "Fuck you! I'm gonna be comfortable and do what he wants to do and capitalize on it and sell it." Like Tenacious D is one of my favorite musical groups, and even not from a comedy setting, I can literally put in that first album, front to back, never change it. Like, I love it that much. But, like, even as a kid for myself, we were always writing crazy, like, we learned, like, I was playing guitar at, like, 11, and we were trying to play, like, we would just write these silly lyrics, like, we had something about Terry Schiavo, which it was so bad. Who's
Terry Schiavo?
She like fell down some stairs accidentally, and I think she suffered like brain damage, and she became a vegetable. And there was this big court proceeding between the husband, who technically has like marriage rights to pull the plug on her, and the parents battling to keep her alive.
Oh yes. Okay, so I did hear about this. I just didn't realize the name. Go ahead.
But my buddy and I, we had a song that it was just like, it'd be like, I'm trying to remember. The chorus was just, we'd play like a G, and we'd be like, you're fucking dead. Like, and it was terrible.
To the point. That's good.
Exactly. But there was 13 when we were writing this. Apologies for interjecting. Thank you for your story, Miles.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I like to keep things professional in my shitty sandals that I'm wearing.
real quick,
Got the
you guys
Jesus
are all
stories.
Floridians. Florida State trivia. What's the Florida State bird?
I'm from New Jersey.
Oh, that's true. Oh, you're honorary Floridian. You're from New Jersey, so you're a Floridian.
You're not even in frame.
It's a mockingbird.
Oh.
Florida State tree, palm tree. Do you guys know Florida State vegetable? Terry Schiavo.
That's good. Voodoo pup.
All right, moving down the line, Senor Drew Ferrano.
That's me.
Give us some deets, my friend.
I started online, so like I was a solo artist because I hate people, and
Hell yeah.
I can't stand them. I'm like, so I never did bands. I never did any of that. I just made songs that I put on Newgrounds, and I eventually did. And then I stopped making songs, and I started making fun of my friends. And I would do like voiceover things where I would make fun of stories that they told me, and I would act them out as if they actually happened. And then somebody on YouTube was like a fan of those, and he had me write songs for his channel. And I made like stupid songs, like a power metal song from the point of view of birds. And they like worship those old people that feed them as bread gods. And that was a popular song. It was popular on YouTube. It was big. And then the Eurobeat stuff started to make a comeback in the 2000s. So I made a Eurobeat song about from the point of view of a baby that's in love with his pacifier. And so he's like, they're always like singing about wanting to race to get to a girl, but it's like, I'm going to get this pacifier. And that one got so popular that they made a friggin' app, like a game, out of the song. Because they animated a whole music video for it with all these babies that were racing in strollers.
This is from your song.
Yeah, I made the song, they did everything else.
This is a hell of an origin story. What
Yeah,
the-
and then I was like, this is dumb, and I stopped. And then I moved to Florida, and I signed up for like a bunch of comedy classes, and because I did them in New York and they were fun, and then I did them down there and they were not fun because my dark humor didn't translate in Florida. Like I used to do jokes about school shootings because in high school I was blamed for a shooting I never committed. I
Weren't we all?
didn't even get a chance. No bodies. But I get all the credit, like I'm gonna do it.
I would have, but the coach didn't put me in.
I used to do all of them. I would be like, but then when I did them in Parkland, they didn't go over so well, and so, and like I would do jokes about genocide and stuff, and then, but it wasn't working. So I did a song about killing off everyone who's stupid instead of just being like, we should just kill everyone. I sang, we should just kill everyone, and it got laughs. So I'm like, I'm gonna do that whenever it's too dark. So if I do a joke and I don't get it and they don't like it, I'm going to sing it next time and then they'll like it. And that's what I learned.
That's what I think ISIS is missing right there. The musical element.
They need a recruitment song.
Yes.
Bing, 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 bing.
He stood through.
It's like, what are your accolades in comedy? Well, I had a song go platinum. It was for ISIS. But it went platinum.
Sold records.
No, because
It blew up.
Yeah.
in that same concept, like a lot of my dirtiest jokes or my most extreme one-liners are in my music bits, and I'm still trying to get more comfortable or learn how to say things a certain way to solicit the right response, because I feel like that's half of the game if you're doing dark humor. If it is not presented well, it does not go well. You can't just go up and go, school shootings.
So,
Am I right?
So shooting this school.
Give it a goog, Jamo.
Why you guys got
Cancer. Wah, wah, wah.
Who's putting all this blood in these kids? It's a mess. Jesus. They're so small, but they bleed so much.
Okay, I don't have $1 billion. I can't.
We're not
pull
even
it out.
monetized yet. We can't even get demonetized.
Turn the freaking frogs gay.
I was from Sandy Hook. I was from that area. I was up in Seabright. And I remember when Alex Jones sent all those vultures out there to harass the families of the victims of Sandy Hook.
Oh.
I didn't get to see it happen because I had moved out before then, but I remember when I heard about that, I'm like, how the hell can anyone fake that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like when the attorney got the winning argument, I feel like he said Sandy hook, line, and sinker.
It was terrible. It was the worst thing anyone had ever done.
That's bad.
It was the worst thing.
Oh my God.
I know it's bad. That's why I said it.
They used to be famous for their twin lighthouses. Now they're famous because a bunch of kids were shot. And somebody said it didn't happen.
Now, you say you sent his vultures, but just people that he worked for him, right?
No, they were like his fans. I'm like, I'm going to get in with Alex
Why
if I
do
go
two
in
tall
there.
structures next to each other piss people off so bad?
I just imagine he cloned himself and
What
sent
it
a
is.
bunch of him.
God
to
damn.
And I remember one of the big stories about those lighthouses, you could stick a pencil into them. And I'm like, who is this fucking weirdo? Who's like, can I put a pencil in it? If not, I don't care.
It's pointless.
Just,
If you make it where you can insert pencils, they will come.
They have like a picture. They have to like someone drew a picture of him doing it. Must have been a big deal.
Was it with an insertable pencil?
Like he had the pencil and, and you
Otherwise.
see him like pushing it in. I'm like, why is this an advertising point for your lighthouse? I don't know. Just I wouldn't be able to sell it down here.
It wasn't even supposed to be a lighthouse. It's just the world's largest pencil sharpener.
Pencils can get in, can't water?
Hey, Zach, before sidetracking us with the random Florida trivia, how about you with the fucking musical comedy, man? You answer the question.
We also have a flower that only grows on the Lake Wells Ridge. So, I guess how it all started was, I think at an early age people made fun of me a lot, and I took it as I thought I was funny, so I just kept rolling with it. The musical thing, I've always been beating on stuff. I guess I was a drummer in a past life, or a horrible drummer, but drummer nonetheless. And I guess it all started, the whole comedy aspect of music. My whole life I've kind of just been Weird Al-ing songs that I knew, making up random songs. Like, I don't really premeditate it, they just come to me because I'm insane. I've landed girls with them, and then, a few years in, driven them insane and made them hate me. With the very same random crazy songs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. She fed me a casserole, made me itch my asshole. Just dumb shit like that. And as far as music, I played tuba a little bit. I used to mess with my mom's old acoustic guitar. It was like a little junior, 70s lesbian guitar. But it was enough to get a sense of the fretting and all that. And then my church because I was one of those kids. My parents had me in church every Sunday twice, Wednesday once. My church got a drum kit, but just didn't have anybody behind it to play it. So I started messing around with it after hours because my dad used to go lock up the church and turn on the AC and go swim in the baptistry. But he didn't do that, I did. But so I used to mess around on it, and I kind of
sure, no.
I naturally had rhythm. For some reason, I could coordinate the hat, bass, and snare instantly. So about a month after that, I was sitting in for the songs, playing Shout to the Lord and stuff like that, having the old ladies come to me afterwards and being like, you hit that cymbal a little too loud, son.
Oh,
because, you know, I'm a 12-year-old forced into church kid at the time, so I've just got POD in my head constantly.
just tell them the Lord told you to hit that cymbal out.
I'm like, the Lord gets down, the Lord throws down.
It was the spirit that took a hold of me, man.
Why did he invent dreads? Come on.
But honestly, as far as the comedy and the music, it's always been there. It's always been my main passion and thing that I like to do. Upon a long-term relationship separation and kind of just getting back out there and starting life again, I've just now started to utilize it and kind of show it to other people. Other than I did grow up a lot like Miles, playing in bands, and they were all of a hard nature. My first was like a pop punk band when I was 14.
Nice.
And then after that it was all like hardcore death metal. It just got nastier and grimier. And what's weird about us all kind of being unknowingly connected before this is I actually used to watch Scott through his windows. No, I'm just funny. No, I actually used to work with this guy years ago.
Goddamn.
I worked with this guy Paco years ago. And
Yeah.
he always knew me because I worked at Little Caesars. I was always singing dumb songs, just being crazy there. I had a character that I only did there actually, but I would turn my glasses like this, flip my visor, and I'd be like, hey, any of y'all got any of them black and milds? And just, you know, stuff like that. And he would always tell me, man, you got to meet my friend Scott. You got to meet my friend King Hooker. You guys would get along. He's funny as hell. And this was like years ago.
Oh, man, shout out to Paco. He's
So,
the homie.
yeah.
We actually, one of the first open mics I ever did was with him. We did the Orlando Improv, and he talked a little about Little Caesars. Neither of us did well, you know. But, yeah, man.
At Little Caesars, you never do well.
No.
You just add another topping each time.
It's never hot and ready. It's cold and disappointing.
My first show was a nightmare.
First mic?
Yeah, the first show I ever did.
Let's talk first shows. Hell
I
yeah.
skipped all the mics because I did all the classes. So instead of doing mics,
Went to a showcase.
you would go to like the
I
class
see.
and you'd do the mics there. And we were practicing all of our jokes. And it was with Laughing Buddha, which if you've ever been to New York, there's like a whole comedy school there called Laughing Buddha. And I didn't know that it was owned by Jim Gaffigan. I found out because we were at the show, and it was in this bar in the middle of nowhere in New York. We're out. I don't even know how far away from Penn Station I was. I was very lost. And it's this little building, and it had a window that was like the size of my fist. And looking through the window, I saw Jim Gaffigan's face. And I was like, why do they have a picture of Jim Gaffigan in this window? And he walked into the fucking room in the middle of our show. Not at the beginning, not at the end. Two people went. Jim Gaffigan walked in, walked on stage, and did 20 minutes of his new shit.
Oh, my God.
And they were like, give it up for your next comedian, Drew Verano.
Oh, my God.
I was like, it's my turn. And I did my jokes. Well, I just rode the wave. That's what they said I did. Because I just was like, I'm gonna talk bad about myself, and then get into murder in the end of the shit of my jokes. And everyone was. I figured out that they liked me. I didn't even know if they were laughing. I was so nervous because Jim Gaffigan just went.
Just left to say.
He literally like destroyed.
Whoa.
It was a big room too, because like when we first went in, it looked like a little dive bar, but there was this curtain in the back, and we walked through, and there was this huge showroom with tables and everything. So there was a lot of people in there, and they were all laughing at Jim Gaffigan like
Literally,
hard.
follow Gaffigan. That's
I had to.
fucking-
Your
That's
first
wild.
show.
My first show.
That's so fucking
And,
wild.
like, And I figured out that the audience liked me because the girl that went after me, because I used to do a joke about Rihanna where I'd be like, I listen to epic fantasy power metal, which is metal with a singer instead of an orc. And you can't listen to like mainstream music. Like, you know, if you turned on the radio, you couldn't listen to a power metal song. And then I would sing something from Glory Hammer. And then I'd be like, and then here's Rihanna with her new song, Work. Work, work. And I would dance around. I'm like this Phil Fat guy dancing and saying work and shaking my butt. And they were eating it up. That was what won them over, I think. If I didn't close with that, it wouldn't have been as good. And then the girl that went up after me tried to start her set by being like, fuck that guy, he can't talk about Rihanna that way. And the whole audience was like, fuck you, lady. We like that guy. And I was like, I didn't even hear them laugh, but I guess I did a good job. But that was the craziest thing ever. I've never had anything like that happen.
Yeah, winning a crowd over is one of the most important things for a set.
Certainly.
Yeah.
If you want to
first sets, that's one of the craziest first show stories.
It's your first show. Jim Gaffigan's gonna crash the fucking show because it's his school, so he knew.
Yeah.
It's like he's just like a magical comedian, and he only finds places where people are doing their first shows. What's up, everybody? Yeah, live with this for the rest of your life.
I don't think he should be up there doing jokes right now. It's my first show. Shut up!
Apparently at the store, like, things used to be so in the mix, and quoting another podcast on a podcast, but, you know, Rogan always talks about, like, he was just getting, you know, started, and he'd have to follow Martin Lawrence all the time. He's like Martin Lawrence, and it was at the height of his career. He's like, he would just destroy. He's like, he was a killer. I don't understand. He killed. But like, imagine that. Like, you're just getting like, imagine we're at LOL and
you gotta follow Martin Lawrence.
Super hot right now, like super hot, like. Say Starvos or Theo show up right now.
Theo
and go, hey, let me do 10. You know, who's gonna say no to that?
And then you gotta get up there and talk about
follow
these dead
Theo.
hamsters, man.
You gotta follow Theo with the stuff you thought of taking a shit at work that week.
Yeah. Oh no.
Like that's, dude. So hats off to you for doing well, man. Because that's.
I go into like a zone when I do that stuff. Like I wasn't even doing music at the time. I was just. But because you go into that zone, and I've been able to get out of it to be able to like experience the audience. And when I first started, I'd be like in the zone. I didn't know if people were laughing or not. All I knew was this joke is this one, and then this one, and then this one, and this one, and then 5 minutes go. Yeah, and that was it. That was all I could think about the whole time. And so it was like that's what got me through it. A lot of other people like freaked out.
No shit.
There's like this indescribable frequency, like of course your delivery, which is within that, and the quality of your jokes matter, and how it's going to resonate with a specific crowd. I've learned is because the same joke will hit different rooms way differently.
Oh yeah.
But it is kind of weird how there's this indescribable frequency that you can tap into with the crowd some nights. And you just kill almost no matter what you say. And then other nights, it's like you're giving them your best shit, but you just can't penetrate through that thick air that's between you and them. It's weird.
Yeah.
If you're not in sequence, it's like you're saying. Like I've had my best impression bits that all like the Morgan Freeman thing in the worst rooms that will still get laughs. It is my saving grace of a joke. But it's still, I'm sitting there going, wow, this murdered for 80 people, and it took me 5 minutes to do the bit at the birthday bash show.
Sure.
And literally the next room, I just complete like, I didn't mess up, I was on my stuff, I'm doing the jokes, and I'm like...
It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's like they were all in the first room.
And they weren't like, they were like, they weren't doing anything bad, they're just staring at me like...
They laugh in here.
Yeah.
That's what they say at the kava bars. They're laughing in here. Man.
Oh my god.
No, they're laughing the next day at the kava bars.
They're in a different world.
I feel like they're telepathically laughing at the kava bar.
I'd rather people drink alcohol.
Yes.
Oh yeah, dude. You'll get dead silence, and they'll stumble up to you after and be like, "You're fucking hilarious, dude."
You should come by my flea market station later.
I make necklaces, dude.
We got any other good first show stories or
for sure.
memorable?
First mic was good. Coworker and I kind of like dared each other into it, like we both wanted to forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually training him his first day, and all we could find in common was to talk about comedy. So we just
Not a bad setup.
yeah, eventually talked each other into it. We went to Flying Boat Brewing in St. Pete, which is no longer there, I think. And it was good. I got a couple laughs. I told myself, as long as I get at least one laugh, I got to try it again.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened. So here I am, trying it again.
Woo!
I'm glad.
Thanks.
You got a good show story?
Well, I was gonna say, so the first one was probably the Improv at the Tampa Improv, but one of the first, I'd say within the first 5 shows was the Pegasus Lounge.
Oh shit! That's one of the first ones I did down here too.
I pulled up there one night, looked in the door, and walked away.
I should have done that. I should have done that because here's what happened. I show up and the mic goes till like 2 a.m. It's like one of those 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. kind of mics. And I walk in and I'm one of the only white people. That doesn't matter, but everybody else was a rapper. You know what I mean? Like there was one rapper on stage and he had 10 hype men. So he's going, I eat the pussy, I like it the pussy, save a little pussy for later, bring it to tomorrow for work, bring a little pussy in a Tupperware, have it for lunch, you know. And 10 other guys going, yeah, eat it, just ad-libbing. And
so it's an open mic?
It's an open
they
mic,
do music,
all arts,
it's mixed.
all arts, so I sign up, and I'm about to leave, I'm watching this happen. I'm with actually 2 female friends too, because they wanted to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bringing females out early. That's a
Big
tough one.
pin, spinning cheese.
One of them was dating my friend, and the other one was just a friend. But bring him out, and the host comes up to me. I'm about to leave, and he's like, "Hey, it's going to be another comedian than you." And I'm like, "Okay, so there's another comic that gets to break the ice before me." I'm like, "You know what? I'll stick around. I'll stick around." It's 10:30, 11 p.m. This first comic goes up. This female, she looks sober as anything, grabs a mic and goes, 20 minutes. 20 minutes of that.
Performance
Not
art.
an English word came out of her mouth. Bringing people on stage. There's this drunk white lady up there now, and she's Spanish. And so the lady started going, I don't speak Spanish. And I'm like, she's cooing. That's not Spanish. 20 minutes. Yeah.
I thought Cardi B was a stripper before she became famous.
No, she was a comedian at the Pegasus Lounge.
You got me thinking way too deep now. Now I'm like, does this lady think birds are Spanish?
Yeah, that's
She
the
did.
thing.
Man, all these flying Mexicans around here.
They're taking our birds.
Migrate back to where you came from.
If you could fly, just fly in. Why ain't you gonna drive those ugly cars?
20 minutes of cooing. Yes.
Brings me to my next biggest development in America, Skywall.
Skywall.
Keep these flag Mexicans out. Sounded better in my head.
Fucking them wingbacks, I suppose. Yeah. That's as close to the sun that I'm gonna fly today.
I went to Mexico, tried to talk to them, couldn't hear them, just sounded like a bunch of coos.
They aren't bringing the best species.
They're trying to stage a coup here in America. It's a bird coup. Doesn't work. All right, I'll set up. It's a Pegasus.
20
Cardi
minutes
B.
of
20,
cooing.
20 solid minutes of cooing. Everybody, Scott Hooker, you know, your next comedian. I get up there. I'm like, holy shit. I'm 2 minutes into my stuff. Everybody's drunk. I do a voice. I go, or something like that. To where one guy goes, you remind me of Gabriel Iglesias. You know, Fluffy? And I'm like, shit. And then a homeless guy walks up. He's got fake roses. You know the ones where you can like open them up and they have something inside of them? It's like a little prize. He walks up with a handful of those and just looks at me and starts handing me. And I'm like, no, sir, I don't want one of these. No. And
I'd be dying if I was watching that.
You can keep going.
I'd be dying.
We're still
and
on.
I'm like, I say no, sir. And one of it, and
No, sir.
and then he keeps handing them to me.
I
So
say
I
no,
reach
no.
out. I reach out and I grab one. And then he's like, and I'm like, what the? And some guy yells from the bar. He goes, "They 2 for $6." And I'm like, are you his business partner? What the fuck's going on, man? I'm like, I don't have $6. I'm sorry. And he walks away. do a joke or two, and I get the fuck off. It was
Bro,
I don't
rough.
if you haven't
Shout out
done
to
the Pegasus Lounge, you should do the Pegasus. I even have a story from the friggin' Pegasus Lounge.
Please.
It was when I met Nate. What is it, Roscoe? I met him at the Pegasus Lounge because he was the comedian that was before me, and he did his joke about hitting his mom, but it was in a much. It was pretty much in the same spot that it's in now, but it was newer at the time, and the audience was like the person that worked at the bar and like everyone who was itching to go up there and hit their friggin' water drum and whatever else they were gonna do. So they were not into it, and the friggin' bar tender lady is yelling at him about it. And then it was my turn, and like after, like the whole energy of the room was terrible, and he left. So I'm like, there's only one thing I can do. I've got to bury him for 20 fucking minutes. All I could do is just talk shit about him. And that's all I did. I just
25
was like,
minutes?
they had me up there for 15 minutes, and all I did was be like, well, that was really funny, guys, right?
I don't know who's tougher to follow, the Mexican bird lady or Jim Gaffigan for your first.
Oh,
I feel like the Mexican bird lady.
no,
tougher
Jim
to follow.
Gaffigan.
If you can follow a lady going for 20 fucking minutes and get laughs, you're a genius, my friend.
Christ, Florida is so rich in like anti-comedy.
It really is.
Like,
It really is.
Like I just got shown a full set by that Justice guy the other day. Like
I still haven't seen him in the wild.
Justice.
I've seen
Oh, Justice.
Florida
Yes.
I've seen
is
a video.
so rich in unusual comedy. Like
Yeah, he does the
if
side
you like
spoilers.
avant-garde music, like those guys that spaz out on trash cans and shit, we have that version of comedy here for you all
Oh,
day.
yeah.
I've done open mics at the Kava clubs where there's a guy who that's all he is avant-garde. He brings a violin and sees who he can hurt with the violin for the day. Like he just plays avant-garde music on a violin, and he's like, this is avant-garde. If you can't handle it, leave.
Now, define avant-garde, because I think of
He
I think
makes-
of a little side sauce when I think of avant-garde. Can I
He-
get some avant-garde?
He does he like plays every note except a good one. And,
Oh,
and then, but he's not a bad violinist. Like and then he has one song where he plays like really fast and really good, and then he just starts screeching it and screaming out things about the government. Like the only thing left like for him to do is to just like play something really beautiful and then just say the N-word into the microphone. That's all he had to. That's all that was left. He never did it though. But I have a story about a guy who did that too. But that was from the other side of Florida. Some guy with a dulcimer comes in. You believe this guy? One of those travel dulcimers, and he's trying to play like an A minor, and nobody's paying attention to him because he's going, "Hey guys, hey guys," and no one's paying attention to him, and so he just goes. He says the N-word once, everything stops, and then he says it again, and the sound guy. Now the guy who says it. He's like an olive tone. I don't know if it counts for him because the sound guy was not olive tone. He was that color. He was this. He looked like
Palpatine.
he looked like he had that face. That's how mad he was. He stepped out from behind the board and was like, "Get out of this club!" And they pull him outside. I'll never forget. I followed him, and I'm so happy I did it because I'll never forget the conversation they had. Sound guy's like, "You need to be more responsible with what you're saying. You can't just say that. That's ridiculous." And the guy with the guitar goes, "You gotta give the bit a chance." And I laughed. Like, and then he turned and looked at me with that face. I was like, after the third N-word, then you'll get it, man. You didn't give it the third one. I had to talk myself out of it.
The rule of three.
Oh, he was,
The comedy.
the sound dude was so mad. Oh my god! It was at a place in Boca called the Mad Robot. Nah, it used to be called the Buddha Lounge, and then they call it the Mad Robot. And that show, that fucking, you gotta give the bit a chance. I'll never forget.
There was a comic locally recently who was not having a great set, and it wasn't like boo, get off the stage bad, but he was bombing.
Okay.
Sure.
And like midway through it, I guess one of the jokes or the punchline for it is the word. I'm just gonna have to say it, faggot.
Okay.
But it didn't get even a shock response. So he literally just goes, faggot. Faggot.
As he's like, okay, so
Just
like,
that impression, I know exactly.
Faggot.
like if you Googled the word and asked Google to say it, that's how you're describing it.
Yeah, but he
shit.
does it until it starts getting laughs.
Ah.
And it was about the 10th one where the whole club's laughing at it, and he's just like, all right, cool, I got your back. So then the other day, and then he goes right back into his material, and it just was, again, it was the synchronizing with the audience.
Yeah.
It just wasn't his night. But then and at one point he tries to go back to something else, like another bad word, and he gets to like third or fourth, and he goes, yeah, that's not working again, apparently. All right, that's my time, and he gets out.
Jesus.
But I was in tears because I'm like, he's gonna keep saying it. I'm in the back just dying. Somebody stop him. I was like, no. Just the rest of 3 minutes of just
he's out of control.
It probably would have worked, but I don't know.
That's like that or cooing. Which would you prefer?
When I went to
Well, it's
Atlanta,
20 minutes of cool. 20 minutes of faggot. That's a little much.
Woo-hoo.
That's a hate crime 5%.
Yeah.
Sounds like middle school in Polk County.
Yeah.
20 minutes.
Cool in the
That's
Cooing and fags.
there's this dude in Atlanta when I went up for some mics up there, and he did not use the mic. He would go up, move the mic to the side, and just start screaming about Nazis, about how he hated Nazis, and if anybody raises their hand that they're a Nazi, he'll fucking kill them right now, right here. And then he transitions into, and you know who are Nazis? Republicans. And his whole set was basically just to try to start a fight.
I guess.
And I could not stop laughing the whole fucking time. It was the funniest thing I'd seen at that point.
Man,
I saw him 3 nights in a row.
like when I see
Went
shit
back
like
to
that,
see just
it makes me think of like shit where I always wanted to get a full suit of armor and just walk onto the stage like clinking and clanging and go to the mic and be like, "What, you gotta wear a suit of armor to get a laugh around here?" I don't know why, but for me, it's like the genius. There's some genius to that I can't figure out. And I also want one where I have like a fake gun in a gun case, and I want to just bring it onto the stage and pull it out and point it at my head, and then just stand there for the full 5 minutes. But I can't will myself to do it.
We just lost our Manscaped sponsor.
Just full 5 minutes of just.
Balls are hairy
Yes.
forever.
I think that could work, but if you just did your normal set,
Yeah, with the gun.
but holding the gun,
Yeah.
and if you don't get the laugh, you just do this like I'll do it. You better laugh.
Make sure it's a Looney Tunes one that has the little stick with the power
Yeah.
ribbon.
Yeah.
You gotta have that.
Or maybe the bubble gun. You know what I mean?
No,
Shoots
just-
out little bubbles.
They use it as a prop in some skits, so it's like a realistic looking one.
Oh god.
And so it's just this.
Let me know how that goes.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Might be a little too dark.
All my friends from New York are like, we want to watch somebody who's out of shape like you go on stage and do the full time going Super Saiyan. I'm like, I can't will myself to do it, but one day someone's gonna be brave enough, and that's gonna be the funniest thing ever.
What wins first, the bit or my asthma? You just fall over.
I don't think I got the power level for it.
Yeah.
Random idea, but every time you get a laugh, you could be like,
I'm scared.
What are they doing?
Like flinch.
Worst. My worst show. It's like the first official like club show.
Uh-huh.
I didn't feel ready, and I should have said so.
What club?
Home club, LOL.
Oh, okay.
So at this point,
We're gonna go home.
I've only been doing the Wednesday night open mics and Pink Piano like once or twice. I maybe have 6 mics under my belt. But at LOL, like over the pandemic, I did a lot of writing and I whittled all of that down into what I thought could work for stand-up. So like my first mic went, I did very well for 5 minutes. People were like, "Oh man, where'd you come from? You've been doing this for a while, right?" I'm like, "That's the first time." They're like, "What?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I did years of improv theater, all that stuff. So like I'm comfortable on stage."
Yeah.
But for a month straight, I was going up and just for a newbie crushing for on a newbie's level, crushing for a month straight. So Mike was like, "Hey man, like you're doing really well. I'm gonna put you on a show. You're just gonna do 5 minutes like you've been doing. Just bring your good stuff. You'll be fine." Well, I'm a huge Hans Kim fan. Mike knows that, so he's like, "You're gonna do Thursday night with Hans, and you're gonna be a guest spot." The crowd was weird. It was 50 tickets. 30 people showed up. Don't understand what was going on. We had a few walk-ins. But
more. Continue.
I know. We did. We did. But the crowds literally just... I think they were all high. Like, so stoned that they were literally... I don't know. Because at no point, besides one lady, this is the only time I've ever received this. Because a lot of my starting out stuff was very, very sexual, a little too on the nose. Like, it wasn't like I was dancing with it. I was like, yeah, so I was eating her pussy, you know, whatever. Because I hadn't learned how to make it more palatable for a broader audience. Mm-hmm. And my first 5 minutes, and I'll explain that in a minute. The first 5 minutes, I do not get a single reaction from the crowd. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to make these motherfuckers laugh. I do 10 minutes, not realizing that 5 minutes has gone by.
Oh, shit.
So
Were you getting the light and missing it? Or
I didn't see it because I was...
Yeah, you're like in your head.
I tranced out going, I'm not getting laughs. I'm not doing well. I've got to recover. And again, newbie mistake in comedy. Yeah. Sometimes you got to know when to just hang the hat and be like, yeah, that's a loss, and get off the stage.
Yeah.
So I do 10 minutes not by accident, just not being conscious of it. Mm-hmm. And my one bit, it's my Scottish girlfriend bit, and it's about going down on her and popping up, going, "I'm fighting a wee man in a boat," and all that shit. As soon as I did that joke, it was the only time I even got a reaction from the audience, and it was like, ha 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 ha. But then people just staring at me like this, and one Karen, like third row, I couldn't really see her. I just see her like doing this, and she just goes, "Boo."
One boo?
Didn't scream it, didn't get mad, like just boo. And I just kind of go, "All right, well, that's my time, bye." And I get off stage, and
someone was gonna booed into an envelope, sealed that envelope, and handed it to you on the stage.
It's like you're not happy at a golfing event. Boo. That was a poor shot there, Tiger.
It was so quiet she didn't need to be loud, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Well, she was at least nice enough to not interrupt the show, because no one really like turned to look at her. But yeah, she was like getting my boo. Boo. Like
check please.
And as soon as I get off stage, I go to the bartender and I just go 2 amber box. And I'm chugging the first one going into the green room, and because I thought, like, I was like, okay, I don't know why I'm doing this, because that was like my first bomb, but on my first show, and it was rough. It was rough.
That's heavy.
That is
and then the saving grace, and I swear to God this happened. Hans Kim, I guess, saw me just like walk off stage defeated, and probably saw me double fisting beers. I'm probably on the verge of just breaking down in the green room, going like, why am I doing this after I finish the first beer? And then I see the curtain go, and it's Hans, just his face. Yeah. And he goes, "Hey man, fuck that crowd. That was funny." And I was like, "You really mean it?" He's like, yeah, man, just keep working on it. He goes, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with him. He's like, that he had some good jokes, and I'm like, do you really feel that way? Because like, I'm literally on the verge of fucking tears because I thought I was like, it was one of those moments because I'd never experienced the bomb,
Right.
and that was the first one, and I was just like. I was like, oh my god. And then after he said it, I like cheered up a lot more and went out and watched his set. And even he had trouble. Like, he's a 10-year comic. And there was parts, that, like, he would get the bigger, like, he was getting laughs and stuff. But there was, like, multiple times in a set where he goes, hey, are you guys awake?
He's been doing it 10 years?
Yes. He was 9 years discovered on Kill Tony. And
Gotcha.
he's been on there for a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Close to it.
Hey, good on him.
But yeah, like, I don't know how many headliners would actually do that or say something like that to a fresh guy, because he might just be like, man, you just bombed on my show, like, get the fuck out of here. It was just a nice sentiment that he came in and just was like, hey man, fuck them, that's funny,
Sure.
I don't know what's wrong with them. And then just see him have trouble with the audience, it made me feel a little better. But ultimately, it was a shit show of a set, like, but it instantly, like, humbled and made me correct a lot of things that I was doing wrong. Because, like, I explained to Mike what happened. He was like, all right, cut, you need to... Gave me some, like, pointers. He's like, work on that next week. Or, you know, keep working on it until I put you on another show. So it was like, gave me some homework on it. But it instantly made me better. So, like, I've always approached bombing differently now. Like, and there are nights where it'll get me. But most nights, if I do end up eating shit, like, I cannot find rhythm at the Gimmick. It's just, it's not my room. I've been there 3 times. And I'll get a few people giggling.
It depends on the night, yeah.
Yeah, but I think if the full room and the energy's there, I'm a very high energy comic. I think I can, like, bounce it off of them.
Sure.
But damn it, man, those open mics, even the times I've been able to get up front, like in the top 10 of the lineup, I can't get a bite. Like, I had some, not the boo thing, but someone was just like, the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, I was like, who says that? You gotta listen, man. I don't know. But that's my white whale right now is the Gimmick. I cannot break that crowd on a was it Monday night? Yeah.
Dude, Tampa Improv is my white whale. I've almost gotten there to, like, doing all right there, but goddamn, that room is so fucking tough. The mic. I build a set just for that room.
Yeah.
I've been working on a set that's just for there, because, I don't know, fucking 80% of my shit does not fly like it should there.
That was my first mic ever, and it was humbling.
Oh.
Yes, I think I told you that was my first mic ever.
Wow.
Pretty much.
That's a rough mic. Because you're in, like, the back corner.
Yeah.
It's full of people that are drunk and they don't give a
You
shit.
can't really see half the crowd.
Fucking margarita machines going.
Yeah.
I remember I was on one show where they were so loud. They were all talking amongst themselves. It was so loud that if you didn't talk out into the mic, they wouldn't hear you.
Yeah.
You were overpowered by their friggin' voices.
Jesus.
Yeah, that room is, like, unforgiving. If you don't bring something that pulls people to you, or if you don't have a way to get people's attention somehow, they don't give a shit.
I had to redeem myself there because it was like a vendetta. I feel the same way you do. Because the first time I ate dick, and then I went up to the guy that hosts it, and he's one of those dudes that, no offense to him, I forget his name, but he doesn't really do stand-up, but takes his job as hosting pretty seriously. You know?
Okay.
And so I go up and I'm like, hey man, it's my first time, how'd I do? He's like, you should find something else to do.
I
And
won't
then
name him, though. I know who it is.
I go
That's the
back
bummer.
right before, I think it was like February of 2020, so right before COVID, with Joe Lamont. And it was the second time I'd ever done it. Fucking killed. I really brought my A game. And he's like, hey man, you're out of town, right? Come back anytime. He didn't remember me from a year or two prior. And I'm like, I appreciate that, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thank you, buddy.
Man. Big time. But it felt good. It felt good to get that, you know.
What about you, old Zachariah? You gotta...
So, the year is 2009. My comedy career is pretty weird. It's pretty split up. So in 2009, I posted something on MySpace, if that dates it for you.
Dang.
And this guy, Jack Johnson, that I went to school with, he was like, I've been thinking about doing comedy too. we ended up being like roommates, but we ended up just kind of riding together, whatever. We ended up riding out to the Improv. First mic ever. I got a couple little laughs on, believe it or not, I did the Smeagol impression for part of it, but it wasn't what I do now. I just said really random shit. And it didn't go well. I ate a dick, and then also then I did comedy afterward. But then, no, I was so unfamiliar with how things went that when I saw the light, I thought it was, oh no, buddy, get the fuck off the stage. Right? I thought you only got the light if you were terrible. I thought it was like their version of like a hook coming and grabbing me by the neck off stage.
They should bring that back.
But
Trying to get Joe Murray to get off stage.
Get a few hooks.
and I was like, man, I know I'm funny, but I'm too ADHD to sit down and construct jokes because like I didn't write on the way there. The last 5 minutes, panic, got some shit together on a napkin and like, but then we did Side Splitters maybe a week or two after that. I did Side Splitters with, again, just randomness. Killed.
Damn.
I don't know if it's because of the drink tickets, but killed at Side Splitters in Tampa. Went back every time, just did better and better. I had bigger comedians telling me like, keep at it, you'll open for me someday. And then right around that time, I got with a girl. She got pregnant pretty soon after. I was a young man. You know, this was 2009. And because I had a family, I left comedy alone for 11 years. So Improv and Side Splitters, maybe 5-6 mics. And then I did Lakeland Live in 2020 like twice to a room of like 3 people. One really pissed off guy from Tampa, like his whole set was about, driving an hour and a half for this. It was a nice.
Was it Steve? Was Steve S there? Steve Sargent?
I was
Sounds like something he would.
It was a long-haired guy in black clothing, but he was too dry to be Steve. And I think Alex is more memorable. The only person I met up there that I still know in the circuit now is Neil Bernard.
Oh yeah,
he was the first pulp comic I met. And then I did a couple of those mics, and it's a shame because that was a really nice room the way they had it set up. But
yeah.
So I came to, everybody had been pushing me, you really need to go back up there, because they knew I did a little bit of comedy. I just riff shit off people all the time. And so I went up to LOL. I went up there Diamond Dean mode. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I even made fun of myself the next week, because I went up there just dressed way too fucking nice for a 5-minute open mic. But the material, I didn't panic write this time. I had been sitting on it in a notebook for a couple of years. And then told just a bad, because, me dating since I've been single, some funny stories have accumulated from that.
Oh, yeah.
There are some real pieces of work out there in the old cesspool. But I told a story, and it went really well. Dean actually gave me the whole, it's your first time in a while? Wow.
Nice.
And then I met Joe Lamons. He was probably the only person I talked to extensively the first time. That I met Nate the second time. So Nate's first time was my second time there. So I always ask Nate, how long have we been doing this? Because I can't remember exactly when we started.
Long enough to make a baby. Or we'd be delivering one right about now. This is month 9.
But honestly, I never saw myself doing it as frequently and as I don't know what the word is, imperatively that I do it now, because there are days I'm convinced at work, like my back's killing me, it's hot, I'm just not, I didn't sleep, whatever, I'm on my period, Tampax is making the guy tamps a little smaller every now and then. But I always end up there.
Oh, yeah.
Every single time. When I'm convinced that I'm not, now it's at the point my coworkers will go, are you going tonight? I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, yeah, the fuck you are. You're going to be there.
It's like a drug, stand-up is, especially that same feeling they compare to, adrenaline in general, right? When you're climbing a mountain and shit, but you get a similar feeling when you're crushing and you got the momentum of that room. Yeah.
It's unlike anything else I've felt.
Yeah.
My brag is that the only Wednesday open mic I've missed since I've been doing it is because I was flying back from Austin, which was a comedy trip.
Nice.
So it has consumed me.
Likewise.
And the only thing that trumps a bad set is going and getting the good one, because it never flips back. You fester. It's like not cleaning a scrape and it getting infected. You have to go back up and do it, because if you don't, that's when you start going, well, I don't want to go tonight. There's going to be too many people.
And the last time I did it was not good.
Yeah,
so it's like that's sitting there until you erase it.
Another huge part they don't tell you about comedy is there's no etch-a-sketch, make it go away. Like, for me at least, like, the other week, I got way too stoned at something, Scott knows, and even though there's only 2 people in the audience, plus peers, I did not do well. I was able to find a little bit of a stretch at the end of my... We're riffing off of cards, basically.
3 minutes? Yeah, we did.
Yeah. And, like, the last minute is when I could finally find a rhythm with the cards, and I kind of shaken out of it.
I brought the good
shit
stuff.
doing that twice.
Yeah.
The Cards Against Humanity?
Yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah. I ate shit. I did it.
I
LG
love
let me
the
do it
show.
twice.
I love the setup of the show. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, some people crush at that shit.
And what the thing was, I didn't think I was going first, and I don't know why I assumed it. I won't point it out, even though I just pointed at somebody. Brought a very different thing that I'm used to intaking for marijuana, and that
Who the fuck did that?
Hey, I also let you hit the blunt, so you were feeling it, Mr. Krabs.
on top of my pen and like a beer, and it set me over, and I'm like, as soon as I got up on stage, I'm like, I'm first? Shit. And at like that night when I went home, I don't know why, but that bomb kind of sat with me a little bit. And like the next day at work, I was in this super depressive rut, and it was for nothing. I should not have been upset, but I was literally like the whole day, I'm like, I don't know if I should do comedy anymore. I'm not going to go up to LOL for the open mic. And I'm not joking. It was like step on the stage. I was like, no. And that was a week. For that week, we had a weird audience, and a lot of people weren't finding that synchronization with them. I went up and was like, nope, I'm going to make you motherfuckers laugh. I got to fix this. Went up and I crushed this audience. And immediately, as I'm like midway of the set, I'm just like, I don't even know, why would I even say that shit? Like, I've gotten so far away from that negative talk. Like, comedy's been a big help to get away from that. It still happens, but that used to be like 100% of the time. I'm not good enough. Well, I'll never do comedy. I shouldn't perform. Blah, blah, blah. This is before I ever stepped on stage. And now I'm just like no, fuck that. I want to go see my friends. I want to go up on stage and make people laugh at my dumb jokes or whatever. But it's like nothing tops that.
I wouldn't have taken... That was a glorified open mic. I mean, let's be real, At what we did, the Cards Against Humanity. No offense to LJ, it's a really cool show. I, again, love the concept and everything. But, I mean, all of us were bombing for the most part. Joe Murray did really good. I give it to him because he went up there with some charisma.
Talking about negative talk, it's time. I gotta go. I gotta head to Side Splitters.
You got bounce.
Oh, shit.
He's gotta go kill him.
Yeah, I gotta be out of here in like 3 minutes.
3 minutes? You want to get your shirt on and get a shot of you?
I'm just gonna wear this. Yeah.
Take a picture?
Yeah.
All right. Go grab your guitar.
All right.
Thank you guys for tuning in. That's not Strings Against Humanity. Strings Attached Comedy. Come see us. We'll be at LOL in the next month or two. I got to talk to Mike, but we're heading out to a bunch of other clubs and bars. Check us out. Facebook, Strings Attached Comedy. Facebook.com, whatever. You find it. Love you.